Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Specimen. I'm a Gwent streamer and this is my first ever YouTube video and I've got something special for that exact reason. We are playing an Emhyr Witches deck. Now, I cannot take credit for the deck. The original Reddit post will be down in the description below. NookierJ is the man that created this. This is my variation on the deck. I've tried a few things such as a Siri Dash version, but this is after quite a few days of testing what I have settled at. We're going to go jump into a game straight away, but I'll just show you the deck here. So I'm very set on the golds list. I've gone for Geralt Igni, Cahir, Vilgefortz, and Stefan Skellen. Now, of course, Cahir's not always going to be great, but in a Emhyr deck he is incredible. Because you can use like Peter twice, you can bounce, it just gives you a lot of adaptability. Now, the centre of the deck revolves around our three witches here, with Asire being a key part to play in that. So you play, the basic idea is you play your witches, you bounce one back with Emhyr, and then you later in the round you use Asire to put two witches back in your deck. So you've got one in your hand and you can play your witches again. Our other silvers, as I say, are Peter and Cantarella. And now I'm pretty set on the golds and silver list. I think they're really refined, but however this bronze list could definitely be chopped and changed a fair amount. Like I say, you could go down a Siri Dash route with Avalak, but a lot of the time you're just going to end up giving them their win conditions, and this deck doesn't perform well in longer rounds. It's normally shorter rounds with the likes of Pikemen, so Avalak seem to be counterproductive overall, and just made the deck less consistent. So we've got our Pikemen, they're generally what we drop first. We've got our Imperial Golems, we've got two Nausicaa Standard Bearers, we've teched in a Vikavara Medic, so he's great against Queensguard and also monsters to get some nice carryover. He's also another good Emhyr target in certain matchups, and Cahir to maybe nick two Queensguard, maybe nick two Kaleno Harpies. And then I've also got three Rot Tossers, because these are just really good at helping make the opponent not play exactly how he wants to, which is really important. And they also work well with Igni. You can Rot Toss a row that you don't want him to play more cards on, and then he's going to be forced to play them on a row where you can Igni them. I've also got two Thunderbolt potions because there's quite a lot of options to drop these, especially with the witches. I used to run 3 potions and even a immune boost, so that is something you could experiment with yourselves. And at the moment I am running 1 combat engineer as well, as he gives a little bit of resilience, and also he's a nice target for the likes of Vilgefortz. Of course, Stefan Skellen places a card on top, and usually your target for that is going to be Asire because you want to guarantee her, but it can also be useful to use on your witches. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into a game here and see how he gets on. Everyone that is in the stream, hope you're doing well. Just going to jump into a game here. Let's go. So yeah, this deck's been performing really well for me overall. Like I say, it's taken a long time to try and get the consistency there, but I feel like we're in a place now where it's performing well. I tried maybe a few different things in the bronze list, such as you could get rid of the combat engineer for a lacerate or something like that, but I do feel like having that extra bit of resilience is nice. Obviously he's going to get locked a lot of the time. And we're up against a Dagon, so let's see how we do against the man, the myth, the legend.
Patience is not a virtue I am known to have.
So we are sat at 4k. I've obviously been higher than that this season by some distance, but I was at around 3.5k when we started using Emhyr, due to just trying out other decks. So he has got us up to 4k with this deck, which is nice. Now the mulligan's really important there. As you saw, I probably did it a little bit too quickly in hindsight, but we just get rid of our golems, we get rid of the pikemen, and then once you've got something you're relatively happy with, stick with it. Something to note is if you've got 2 of your witches, it's actually not too bad, because you're going to have 1 witcher in your hand anyway, and you can of course use a Sire to pull them back later. So if you have 2 witches, it doesn't really matter too much, I would say. I'm going to go ahead and I've only got 1 of these, so I'm actually going to row stack against this, I think. We'll go in the back row instead. It can be worth row stacking with potions, but as we've only got 1, I think it's safe to just go in this back row here. So yeah, blacklisting is something that is really, really important in Gwent, and in this deck especially, because you've got the likes of pikemen, witches, etc. that you really just don't want to draw on your first turn. I'm just going to go ahead and put my witches out here. So I've got 2 options here, right? I can either... Okay, so there comes a lock. So I was going to say what I could either do is, and this is a problem with pikemen, right? They're big removal bait, but at least they require an answer. That is one thing. I can either use Emhyr and bounce one of my witches back and put it in my hand. Alternatively, and that is the safer option, alternatively, if I had Stefan Skellen, what I would probably do would be leave them on there, maybe bounce back pikeman or something like that, and you could play a sire later on and use Emhyr on the sire, because then you can put all three of your witches back in 2 goes of a sire, right? But in this case, I think I'm just going to go ahead and Emhyr one of the witches back.
Patience is not
This
a
is the
virtue
generally
I am known to have.
the safest way of doing it, and you always want to leave Vesemir on there because he's just going to block that Igni. And this is where you can see the strength of the potions, right? Bang. So even though we took away a Witcher, we still get quite a lot of good tempo there. Here comes his fog, and of course we've got our standard bearer to deal with this. And you want to use these to just make sure you avoid Ignis and stuff like that. This is another reason they're really good. Of course, weather clearing is the main thing. Now he seems to be lining up a lacerate, so I think it would be wrong to pass in this case. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, I could Igni him of course, but I can Igni him next round as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and give myself some carryover. Now it's generally speaking best to place it on your second highest unit as opposed to the highest because of the likes of Igni, right? And this is why the combat engineer can be good. So here comes Nilfgaard. I'm expecting a lacerate at any second, so I still feel like my best player here is going to be Igni very soon, but that's not going to go anywhere, right? So maybe I'll just go ahead and drop a rot tosser on this back row. I think an important thing with Igni is not to rush it. Like, I've got this win in the bag with such a big point swing, right? I think this is now my Igni, just so he doesn't get those eggs consumed. Yeah, let's go for it. Oosh! So this will be his pass now. Like I say, possibly a little bit overkill. Surely he's going to pass it. This is certainly our pass. He goes to secure that extra carryover, but at the cost of an extra card. He's going to have more carryover because of the easy monsters carryover and Nilfgaard. But that's fine. We've got Cantarella for next round anyway, so passing straight away is not really something we wanted to do. But this is where the combat engineer doesn't really matter too much. It's not really done us too much good here. I mean, obviously we've got 9 points on board, but we have obviously been out-tempoed pretty comfortably. So now here is where you'll see the beauty of a sire. Now, I would try and like to get Stefan Skellen still, so I could consider dropping the rot tosser. I've also got Emhyr. I think I'm going to keep him though. And just drop him straight away. Give him something to think about. Obviously, with the likes of Witchers, I'm going to be pretty confident going into the last round on its own. Oh, and he might eat a Witcher, and this is something you've really got to be careful of. So, if I aside first thing there, he wouldn't have been able to do that, right? But unfortunately, I did not do that, and it's probably going to cost me here. So, this is something you need to be careful of, for sure.
No one can.
And it's something that I've not been careful of here. So I'm going to take my pikemen, just try and thin them out of the deck. We're not in a real rush to end this round. Obviously, with our Witches gone, what I could actually do here though is, in light of him taking our stuff, next round our Witcher, you can actually still adapt this. He locked our pikemen as well. So with a sire, what I can now do is place back my 1 Witcher. I'd still get a decent amount of points off of them, and I could also play my other pikemen. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and pass here. Before he gets any more easy carryover, he might be looking to play a Necker or something like that. So this seems like a good time to pass. And this is one positive of the deck. Even though he has countered our main win condition, we're still looking relatively good. And I think I'm going to keep these cards. I obviously would have liked Emhyr or something like that, but there's a big risk I draw another pikeman. And I don't want to risk that. So here comes the Necker. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop this pikeman down here. Possibly should have gone in the middle row, in fairness, but we shall see if that matters too much. Here comes Wooden Spirit. Now, what I'm going to do with the sire then is, I'm going to place back, obviously this is where normally you place back your 2 Witches, right? but he's obviously countered me pretty heavily. But at least I can put back my one pikeman that he locked, and I can put back Lambert. This is why the pikemen work well in this deck. It just gives you that extra sire target if necessary, because a lot of the time they will get locked. You might have one left in your deck or something like that, and this is a good reason. This is like a good thing to have, essentially. So probably want to hit. What's he going for? So he goes for Giant Toad, and that was on a Water Hag. So we've got 2 witches in our deck still, and we've got another extra pikeman. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a Rot Tosser on this back row here. I'm slightly hopeful that he drew a Necker in his hand. That could be a good one, but it would still be a lot of points for him. But I'm going to go ahead and Peter the Necker as my next play here. And then obviously you just want something for Vilgefortz low value, because he's going to draw the top card from your deck. And you just want to make sure that you've got enough stuff on the board, so in case you get Cahir or something like that, that you've actually got some decent stuff to aim at still. We'll see what he plays here. And we just want to make sure that we've got something. So Ignis, my back row. And that's why I shouldn't have gone in the back row of my pikeman, right? I've just given him some free points there, but it is what it is.
The Nordling's hatred for us will never end.
Just going to go ahead and do that. Now, obviously, if this is a Grave Hag, I should have saved Peter. But we shall see if it is. If worse comes to worse, I can build it. So it's not. We'll see if we've got enough here to take this. The Rot Tosser goes off. There comes the next pikeman. Well, of course, now Vilgefortz the Rot Tosser before it dies. Ush. Hopefully we don't get a Witcher, and we don't. I should have possibly done that the other way around, in fairness. What's going to be our best play here? Probably an Archgriffin, right? That would make sense. Yeah. So, obviously we take the win pretty comfortably. Despite him countering us, we've still got the likes of pikemen. So he locked our pikeman and took away a Witcher, but we still had enough tempo to go ahead and get that win. And this is why a lot of these options are really good. Vilgefortz is a great card in this deck. Yeah, so good start.